Are you looking for the best Samsung TVs? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best TVs on the market before we get started with our video. We have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Samsung 65-inch S90D OLED 4K TV. When looking at overall value for your money, the S90D is the best Samsung TV I've tested. In fact, it's my pick for the best TV from any brand. Thanks to its QD OLED panel, the S90D delivers an infinite contrast ratio and better color performance than similarly priced OLEDs from LG and Sony. It also boasts a high 144Hz refresh rate when paired with a PC to enable smooth gameplay. Like all Samsung TVs, the display supports the HDR10 and HDR10 plus high dynamic range (HDR) formats, and it looks stunning when playing compatible movies and TV shows. Highlights pop off the screen, and the S90D produces deeper, more precise black levels than any of Samsung's QLED displays. It also has wider viewing angles than a QLED, so you can sit to the side of the TV without any notable loss in image quality. The S90D is also bright for a mid-range OLED. I measured a peak of around 1240 nits, which beats the older S90C by around 200 nits. This makes it an excellent fit for movie watching in a dark home theater and casual TV viewing in a typical living room. However, the S90D's brightness still can't match the 2000 nit max of Samsung's top QLEDs, like the QN90D, or its pricier S95F OLED. It also has a glossy screen rather than the anti-glare matte screen found on some of Samsung's other TVs. Higher brightness and a matte screen are both beneficial for viewers who struggle with reflections in their rooms. That said, I prefer glossy screens for most uses since this type of panel is better at preserving contrast. All things considered, the S90D is the best Samsung TV for most people with typical viewing needs. Its image quality is nearly on par with sets that cost $1,000 more, and it often gets fantastic discounts during sales. Buyers should note that Samsung sells a new 2025 edition of this display, the S90F. The new model offers some improvements in performance, but it costs a lot more. With that in mind, the S90D remains the better value. At number 2. Samsung 65-inch U8000F 4K TV. While many of Samsung's high-end and mid-range TVs deliver good value, its budget options tend to be lacking compared to similar TVs from Roku, TCL, and Hisense. But if you prefer the Samsung brand, the U8000F is the company's best entry-level option. The U8000F is a new model for 2025, replacing my previous pick in this category, the CU7000, which is now hard to find in stock. The U8000F uses a regular LCD panel with a standard LED backlight. This is fine for casual viewing needs, but the TV is missing all of the step-up picture quality features you'd find on Samsung's QLED and OLED models. Most notably, the U8000F doesn't use quantum dots and lacks local dimming. As a result, the TV offers a more restricted range of colors, and its black levels aren't as deep or uniform across the screen. This is also one of the dimmest TVs in Samsung's lineup. It can technically process HDR10 and HDR10 plus signals, but it can't get bright enough or control its contrast precisely enough to actually showcase the benefits of HDR. Still, the U8000F is capable of full 4K resolution playback for a crisp, sharp image. It plays standard dynamic range (SDR) content in both 4K and high definition just fine, so HD cable channels and all of the best live TV streaming services look solid. This is a decent entry-level model for casual viewers who just want a basic smart TV and don't care about paying extra for better picture quality. But keep in mind, if you're willing to go outside Samsung's lineup, you can find TVs with better contrast and color performance, like the Roku Plus series, for around the same price. At number 3. Samsung 65-inch S95F OLED 4K TV. Samsung's S95F OLED is the brand's most impressive TV yet. That said, it's also one of its most expensive. Like the cheaper S90D, this OLED delivers an infinite contrast ratio and wide viewing angles. But this step-up model can get much brighter, enabling even more HDR impact when watching high-brightness movies and TV shows. I measured a peak of around 2170 nits using the TV's most accurate HDR picture mode. That's almost 1000 nits more than the S90D, which is a substantial bump. In fact, the S95F is one of the brightest OLED TVs available, second only to the LG G5. The S95F uses Samsung's latest anti-glare matte screen, which could be a pro or con depending on your viewing needs. This feature significantly reduces reflections in rooms with ambient light, making it a perfect fit for people who struggle with glare in their space. Sports fans, in particular, should consider the S95F, as it's great for watching games during the day. However, this glare-free coating does have one negative side effect: it causes black levels to look a bit elevated in a bright room. As a result, dark scenes lose some of the inkiness that OLED TVs are known for. To be clear, black levels are still perfect in a dark room, but perceived contrast takes a hit when watching dim scenes with the lights on. Ultimately, whether you favor a reflective or matte screen comes down to personal preference, but if you find glare to be a constant headache, the benefits of the S95F's screen outweigh its drawbacks. The S95F is also a great gaming TV. It's one of the few models to support up to a 165Hz refresh rate for smoother motion when hooked up to a PC. I also like the TV's design, which has a thin profile that's less than an inch thick. It achieves this by using a separate One Connect box to house all its HDMI ports, something that the brand's cheaper models lack. At number 4. Samsung 65-inch QN90D Neo QLED 4K TV. Though I favor Samsung's OLED TVs for their superior black-level performance, the company's QLEDs are still worthwhile options. My favorite is the QN90D, which is an especially good pick if you want a bright TV that costs less than the flagship S95F OLED. The QN90D is part of Samsung's Neo QLED series, which means it uses quantum dots for expanded color and a mini LED backlight with local dimming for improved contrast. The TV's mini LEDs enable it to produce solid black levels with good brightness control. However, the QN90D's dimming isn't perfect, and it has flaws you won't see on an OLED. Some blooming, small halos around bright objects, and vignetting, darkening around the edges of bright objects, cropped up in a few scenes during my evaluation. For instance, one test sequence that featured candles burning against a black background had noticeable halos around the flames. But on the plus side, the QN90D offers excellent brightness. I measured a peak of around 2040 nits. This makes the TV well suited for bright rooms and allows HDR content to look bold and punchy. The QN90D's viewing angles are also solid, but still not quite as wide as they are on an OLED, like the S90D or S95F. Samsung also sells a 2025 version of this TV, the QN90F, which offers some small improvements. When I tested the QN90F, it delivered a slightly higher peak brightness of 2130 nits and produced fewer halos during my dimming tests. It also adds Samsung's glare-free tech, which greatly reduces screen reflections at the expense of raising black levels in a bright room. That said, the QN90F costs more. Given the current price difference, I recommend the QN90D as the better buy. At number 5. Samsung 65-inch The Frame, LS03D. Samsung's Frame TV is an excellent choice for anyone planning to mount their display on a wall. This unique TV is built to look like a piece of art hanging in your living room. The frame has a black border by default, but you can pay extra to get different bezel colors for the exact picture frame look you want. Options include white, brown, teak, red, beige, and more. The add-on bezels magnetically snap onto the display for simple installation. Like Samsung's S95 series, the Frame TV uses an external One Connect box to house its video ports, which enables the panel to maintain a 1-inch profile from top to bottom. When paired with the included slim-fit wall mount, the TV can be hung flush on your wall, just like a framed work of art. The display uses a matte finish that's similar but not identical to the one used on Samsung's flagship S95 series OLEDs. This finish helps prevent reflections and gives the screen a more canvas-like appearance. When you're not watching TV, you can have it enter art mode, which will cycle through various paintings and photographs you can pull from Samsung's Art Store, subscription required, or a USB drive. A built-in motion sensor can even toggle the art mode to activate when people are in the room. While the frame's unique design is its main selling point, the TV also benefits from using a QLED panel, albeit without all the bells and whistles that Samsung's best QLEDs have. The frame can't hit the same peak brightness levels as my high-end picks, and it lacks local dimming for precise contrast control. I don't recommend this TV for anyone focused on picture quality, but it still delivers a nice enough image for casual viewing. The frame is really geared toward people who want the best Samsung TV that can double as an attractive design piece to hang in a living room, and in that sense, it excels.